Hi, this is Dave Meyer of ECI Learning Systems, where we work to eliminate your workplace energy crisis and create the kind of workplace where people love to come to work and strive to do their very best. Now, if you've been following our last few videos, we've been studying the DISC model, and we've talked about the D's and what they're doing, what they're like, and the I's and the S's and the C's, and all of this kind of begs a bigger question. So what? So what if I'm a D? So what if you're an I? So what if our boss over there is a C? Does any of this really matter? Well, I'm here to tell you that it does matter, and I'll show you how it matters. Now, a while back, I was working with a client, a small consulting firm, and there are two partners, a senior, more experienced partner and a young protege, if you will. And they studied DiSC with us for a few months and wanted to use it to create their first client presentation. So we helped them with that, talked about what the person was like they're presenting to, identified his style, and then create a presentation that matched that person's style. Things they would want to know, things they would not want to know, things they would ask about, things they wouldn't ask about. So off they went to make their presentation. I stopped by a week later and said, so guys, how'd it go? Well, Bob, the senior partner, was really excited and said, Dave said it went perfectly. Great, so they signed the contract. Yeah, they signed it, and it just really worked really well. This stuff really works. I said, well, that's great, Bob. So, Sandy, how'd it work for you? Sandy said, Dave, it was weird. Well, your first big proposal, I'm sure it felt a little weird to you. No, Dave, that wasn't what was weird. It was weird talking to this guy and using this model. I says, well, what do you mean? He says, well, he said exactly what you'd said he was going to say. He even used some of the same words you were using. It was just really strange. I said, so it really worked for us then, huh? He says, yeah, it really worked well. Well, okay, well, good. So they still use it today with all their clients, help make the proposals most effective. Now, another time I was using DiSC in a group setting. And by the way, DiSC works great in groups. It's a wonderful tool to use with groups, very eye-opening. But I was approached at one of the breaks by one of the managers who said, Dave, does this stuff work at home too? I said, well, yeah, it's personality and communication style, so yeah, it works really well at home. I said, okay. Well, I've got a question for you then, because my wife and I are having some problems together, and I was hoping you could give her a DiSC profile as well. Well, I'm not a marriage counselor, but I gave her a DiSC profile and sat down with them for lunch about a week later. And as they're ordering lunch, I'm looking at her profile and seeing her style. So I said, okay, so, how are things going for you? Well, she didn't know me very well, so she was kind of slow getting going and saying, well, we don't communicate very well. Well, give me an example. Well, she said, last night I went to talk to him about this meeting, and I went to his office, and I said, let me just guess, I said. He's on his computer working. She goes, yeah. She says, and you kept talking to him, and the more you talked, the more he's on his computer. She goes, well, yeah. I says, and so you kept on talking and convinced that he wasn't even listening to you, right? She goes, well, yeah, he didn't listen to a word I said. Let's check in with him. So, John, do you recall last night's discussion? He says, well, yeah. I heard every word she said. What did she say? He repeated it all back. Well, Liz, did he listen to you? Well, I guess he didn't, but I didn't think he did. So we sat down then, reviewed the two styles of their personalities and the DiSC model, and helped create then a plan of how he could talk with her and adapt himself to her style, and she could talk to him, adapt herself to his style. And as we went through the styles together, they were laughing about themselves, seeing themselves in these different styles. So a week or so later, I called back to see how it was going. And John goes, David's stuff works great. So we were talking last night, and he says, and I varied from the plan we put together. And she stopped me and said, hey, get back on plan. And as soon as I did, communications improved immediately. He says, this stuff is a wonder. Yeah, it is kind of a wonder. Now, third time I was working with a client, and the client started by saying to me, Dave, my boss hates me. Really? Yeah, my boss thinks I'm stupid, and I don't get how to do my job, and I just can't work here with this boss because he hates me. Well, show me why he hates you. She shows me this 1.5-page note in response to a note she'd sent to him. And I said, well, what do you think this note says? She goes, well, the note says I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm doing, and they're going to be able to do this job. I said, oh, it's not what I see in the note. What do you see in the note? I think he said, okay. What? No, he said I was stupid, didn't know what I was doing. I said, no, I think he said, okay. We sat down for a few minutes, reviewed the model together, and her style and his style. I said, I have a suggestion for you. Go back to your boss right now, stick your head in his door, and just tell him what you're going to do. And you do that, he's just going to say to you, good. And then he's going to ask you when. And you give him the when, and then you get out there and come back here. Well, she goes, okay, I'll give it a try. She goes down the hall, talks to him. She says, come back a few minutes later, she goes, well, Dave, you were wrong. I said, it was? She goes, yeah, I stuck my head in the door and talked to him, and he didn't say good. What did he say? He said, thank God. Oh. And he didn't say when. He said, how soon? So I was wrong. She goes, how did you know what he was going to do? I said, well, let's go back to the model again. Here's your style. Here's his style. Here's what he expects from you. Here's what you're giving to him. And that's mismatch what's causing this kind of communication problem. So showing her how the model worked, and later showing her boss how the model worked, they were able to adapt to each other effectively, improve their communications, and do very well together as a team. So these are just 3 examples I've given you here of how DiSC can work. It works regularly. It's an easy model to use. It's quick to learn. If you have a question about how DiSC works, please give me a call at 303-681-8982. Because DiSC can work for you and make your workplace more effective, make your communication more effective as well.